He got problems. She got problems. Only I got 411 problems. Hey, hi, what's up, y'all? Welcome and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another Sit With Me, a Gen X
and a genz.
perspective. Yeah, this Ty show again. I don't, nothing. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today the topics are. Gotta make sure you're still in frame. Big head.
You can put yourself in front.
So today's topics are the 1v20 with Jasmine versus the Christians. And our second topic is throw the internet away. Now, these two topics, of course, are recent for me. You know what I mean? I feel as though those perspectives could be analyzed from us, two different perspectives. Of course. Mom, what do you identify as again?
Angel.
What do you identify as?
I identify as Angel.
Spiritually, do you?
Angel.
Do you claim spiritualist?
Angel.
So, how did you feel about the 1v20? Let's start there. Well, let's start with that.
I thought it was a great discussion.
That's all you thought about. Yeah, great discussion. Want to elaborate more? Go in depth about the convo, what you heard.
Not really. I thought it was a great discussion. Like, you got the floor.
What about it was great for you?
I felt that both parties stood their ground. They felt how they feel about their both perspectives.
What would you say is your perspective? Like,
is this an interview? Or are you supposed to be talking about how you feel?
It's more of like both of us. It's both of our perspectives. You know what I mean?
I gave my perspective. I thought it was a great discussion.
Yeah, but I mean, that's vague. You know what I mean? I mean, like, what stood out to you for that instance? Like,
I just told you. I felt like each person stood their ground for their own perspective. And did you just call my perspective fake without giving your own?
What I said vague.
You said what?
Vague.
Sound like you said fake.
No, I said vague.
But even with it being vague, have you given yours?
My perspective on the 1v20?
Yes.
I haven't given my perspective on that. I wanted to dissect your perspective because
there's
the
nothing to dissect.
You give your Gen X perspective, and then I give my Gen Z.
There's nothing to dissect, though. I thought it was a great discussion.
There's always something to dissect, when it comes to human conversation and dialogue. You could go into many rabbit holes, honestly.
Yeah, not Alice in Wonderland. I ain't going no rabbit holes.
That's metaphorical. You're not technically going down, and it's just not necessarily like a tangent, but you're interested in that dialogue. You know what I mean? It's like, I wouldn't say necessarily something you bring up, like, oh, I bring up religion constantly, but I would say it's something you have an intrigue for when it's brought up in a debate format. You know what I mean? Now, that's interesting. Very interesting. Do you think they doubled down on Christian stereotypes?
Again, I feel like both people held their own perspectives. To the Christians, there is no stereotypes. They came with the guns blazing of how they felt. Jasmine came with guns blazing on how she felt. There is no stereotype. And I personally believe there is no right or wrong answer. Do I feel like Christianity needs to evolve? Absolutely. But they won't. So I don't think it's stereotypes. I just think they are used to what they're being taught. It was a great conversation on both sides.
I feel like you agreed without intentionally trying to agree.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, when I say stereotype, I mean like, I'm gung ho, live by, stand by, and be by, Bible, but not necessarily open to dialogue. You know what I mean? It's like, this is all I know. This is all that is reality. This is all that's real. So it's like, I feel like that's a stereotype. I feel like some Christians are open to certain things. There are certain Christians that are open to conversation, but still strong on their beliefs. You know what I mean? But it
Well, you
still
can't
makes
say they weren't
sense.
open to conversation when they was out having a conversation.
So you wouldn't agree, like, during the duration of watching, you wouldn't say that it wasn't like, mm, it wasn't like, okay, I see what you're saying. Like, for instance, when she was bringing up how things weren't demonic, how certain things were in practices and was before, certain Christianity practices, it was as if they weren't accepting that real world knowledge compared to the Bible. That's what I think is like stereotypical and like religious psychosis, as they say in a nutshell. That's what I'm talking about. Stereotypical.
Religious psychosis to me doesn't mean you knowing the Bible. Religious psychosis to me is like yesterday I watched on TikTok this lady sitting at the gas station and she was saying how everybody there was a Mason or Eastern Star and they were coming there to put voodoo in a witch spell on her. And it was all complete strangers. That's religious psychosis to me. Knowing your word and believing in your own religion, whoever you serve, is not religious psychosis to me. Religious
I
psychosis to me is when you cannot separate real world, like what's happening in front of you, and you're having these hallucinations. That's religious psychosis to me.
Right. I think what we're like misinterpreting here when it comes to that, it's like, I'm not saying that they're hallucinating or that I'm knocking their belief, right? What I'm saying is they're playing on to the stereotype that I can't hear or accept any knowledge besides my Bible. You know what I mean? Besides what I've been taught. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, we talk about how we're learning to unlearn and learning to relearn things. It seems like in that community of that, when I'm talking about psychosis, I'm talking about the ability to remove that knowledge, the real world knowledge, as if it doesn't exist. As if, nah, it's my Bible strictly only. I'm talking about those specific stereotypical Christians, if that makes sense. I wanted to make that clear. I'm not talking about, the followers who are following in the sense of belief, in that sense, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
No, because you was asking about the Christians that's in the video. the Christians that's in the video, there were some things that they agreed with Jasmine about, and then there were other things that they didn't, which is why I said it was a great conversation, because both parties stood their ground. So both of them agreed that crystals were in the Bible, but the way that Jasmine used Bible is not the way that God uses Bible. So with them saying, this is the way we believe, as Jasmine said, of course, because you're taught to believe that everything of God is good and anything else outside of that is evil. That's not religious psychosis or stereotype. That's literally what they're taught. So there were things that they could agree upon, but there was also other things that she broke down. And sometimes people can't see past that because of what you're taught. That's not just religion, that's life. Some people, like women wearing pants in the pulpit, literally just became maybe 10 years, or maybe 20 years, maybe 20 years. Because if a woman wore pants in the pulpit, she wasn't seen as deemed as holy. That's not just Christianity. That's what do you call it? Kojic, Church of God in Christ.
So they're not a stereotype because they're following their beliefs. So if okay, if some human being does something stereotypical, do I deem that not stereotypical because they believe
If
in
that's the
that?
case, then Jasmine will be a stereotype as well, because she believes in her spirituality.
Yeah, I'm not stating that the other doesn't have stereotypical features. What I'm stating is the Christianity stereotypes, like they do exist, just like spirituality stereotypes exist as well, which Jasmine brought up I believe in her YouTube video when she was like, I'm not a new ager. That I feel like that's a label placed on people or spiritualists who, actually practice it. So I'm saying it in the terms of stuff like
So is
that.
religious psychosis.
So you believe it's religious psycho?
No, what I'm saying is, you're saying Jasmine said she's not a new age and she feels like that's a label. I feel people use religious psychosis as a label to get away with and constantly throw it out, when religious psychosis is not somebody who believes in Christianity wholeheartedly. Religious psychosis is you're using Christianity or whatever you believe in, because as I stated, the young lady wasn't even talking about Christianity. She was talking about spiritualists situations with witch and warlocks pulling up on her at the gas station. She was sitting at the gas station, putting her camera on different strangers and calling each one a witch or a warlock and saying they were coming to put spells on her and they were trying to kill her.
Right. Okay. I think genuinely where we're missing it, because those people in the video, I believe they're high functional. I don't believe they're in a deep, severe psychosis, right? What I'm saying is you can have psychosis tendencies, but not have a full feature of psychosis, if that makes sense. So for me, I'm not saying, like I'm reiterating, their belief, I'm not knocking that. What I'm specifically talking about is Christian stereotypes of just knocking knowledge. You know what I mean? That I feel like we can both agree on that. Like they were genuinely just knocking off knowledge as if it doesn't exist and writing it off as evil, just because it's not within their practice, which I feel is very stereotypical of any religion except for omnism and spiritualists. They They don't go around being like, ah, your stuff is bad, your stuff is evil. But stereotypical for them, I would say, is like faith in the stars, cosmos. That's we just write in the stars. We believe in the universe. I would say that's stereotypical. So that would be religious psychosis for spiritualists. You know what I mean? But I was trying to point out the Christian one specifically because that's something I grew around. That's something I personally could like note to like, wow, I see that. That's something that I've seen. And I wanted to get your experience on that as a Gen Xer because I feel like you had those type of people too, if that makes sense. Where it's not like I'm following the faith because I genuinely believe it, but I'm following it because I was taught it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's a difference, like a genuine difference between the two. Like one is I'm regurgitating this knowledge just because I was taught it, you know, and one is I genuinely have faith in this and believe in this because I experienced something. You know what I mean? Like two, I feel like they're two different things for me. Even though some who are taught it can experience things, I'm not, you know, debunking that or knocking that. What I'm stating is you could tell the difference between one or the other. For me at least, I feel like you could. So that's where I'm coming from with stereotypical and stuff like that. I'm not saying, you know, it's necessarily bad or good. I'm just pointing it out as an observer. You know what I mean? Do you think something could have been better conveyed from each party?
No. Again, I think it was a great conversation. I think both sides held their ground with the time limit that they had.
That's fair. That's fair. Second topic: the internet should be thrown away. I thought about this topic because it's usually due to my scrolls. I'm just like I'm genuinely tired of seeing ignorance. You know what I mean? I'm tired of people having opinionations that it just to the common man it doesn't make sense, and it shows like it genuinely shows. I think the internet lost its purpose for what it originally was created for. You know, I feel like we aren't using it to its best ability. Honestly, for my opinion, and when I say throw the internet away, I want us to throw away the modern uh way we utilize it. You know what I mean? I want us to throw away how we communicate through internet. I want us to throw away what we decide to show on the internet. You know what I mean? Like actually actively pay attention because I feel like silently we're not only killing future generations, but we're silently killing away our own generations and past generations. It's very crazy. It's very crazy. I could say that, but I guess that depends on the algorithm too that you're on. Because I hear people, you know, getting good stuff, getting vibes on their for you pages and their feeds and timelines. You know what I mean? But I genuinely want it to change in the near future. Hopefully, that's how I feel about that topic in a sense. How do you feel about that, Ma Dukes?
Mm. I feel the internet will flow with whatever climate is happening. During COVID, everybody was together and it was a beautiful thing. Right now, the government is negative, so from the head down, it flows. So the whole planet is kind of negative because everybody's struggling, everybody's not happy. So that's literally what's feeding the algorithms. I feel like the internet flows from what is put into it, and it goes off also vibes. When people are not happy with everyday life, they're going to bring negativity. And also, you adjust your timeline. You pick and choose what's on your timeline. So if you see BS that you don't like, remove it. You have that option. You just hit the little buttons and be like, I don't want to see this, not interested. And they remove it off your timeline. So you control your timeline and your algorithms, or what comes to it, actually. Your algorithm is created by what you interact with.
I'm gonna go get smacked, ladies and gentlemen. You have yourself a beautiful day. Okay? I love you. Together forever. Me and you. You can do your outro.
Turn off.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. Alright, have a beautiful time.
I love you the mostest because you're definitely the dopest in real life, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.
I'm in frame, right? Yeah. I'm in there. 21 new kids, yeah.
Why not put it on a flat surface? Like,
Yeah. You need a pillow.
you go ahead and start.
You're gonna be alright.
No, come when I'm finished. You
Yeah,
need to put it on a flat surface, and your mic is not even on.
Alright. 21 with no kids, yeah. Alright, let's see. I was laying in my bed. Chill.
This was your idea.
Absolutely.
We can turn it off.
I'm suing. Right.
Where's my piece?
You need a piece?
No, on the back of your mic, there's a piece.
I don't see.
I said your mic. Yeah, mine is missing the clip.
Yeah. I don't see a clip over here.
Go ahead.
So